our podcast would start with us laughing.
Yeah. Literally. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm so excited.
Me too. So excited
We've been talking about this podcast for months now.
for months. And it took us so long to set up everything.
Such a learning curve to figure out like the technical side of it.
100%. Like everybody thinking a podcast is easy to do. It's not just you talking. Especially, well, actually, we could have hired a studio.
Yeah, we could have.
But we wanted to save money. So instead, we decided to make it homemade. But honestly,
We are shooting in my room in Bali right now.
yeah.
And we had probably 3 guys help us figure this out.
Oh, yeah. And 3 guys with podcasts. So they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
So grateful to have them. Because we literally have their lights at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
We have their microphones. We literally have
their
their
chairs. And then we have the IKEA pillows.
Oh, yeah. Just to,
Make it girly.
for your information, behind our little pink
Lights.
cushions, we have an octopus.
Yes.
But nobody knows.
Yes.
And it looks all girly.
So, but this is our podcast,
Yeah, welcome.
and it's about solo female travel
Yes.
because Beatrice and I are both solo female travelers, and we met doing that.
Exactly.
We both came to Bali by ourselves last year, and we met and we really connected right away.
So quickly.
Yeah, it just felt like a friendship that like you don't need the time to be close. Like you just
Exactly.
are close.
Yeah, literally. Because we went, so last September, we went we came here in Bali. And we went on this trip, LCA trip, so Lost Creator Academy by Les Leblanc. And it was a 3 days trip, and it was so intense.
So
we
intense.
were busy from like literally like 4 a.m. until maybe 11 p.m.
Yep.
doing stuff. And we were 24/7 together.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we were in the same car the first day, and that's how we met. We were just like sitting almost next to each other,
Yeah.
and then it was soulmates.
It was.
Friendship.
It really was. She's from Canada. I'm from the US.
Yes,
But you're French Canadian.
I'm French Canadian. You can probably hear it in my accent.
It's the cutest. But yeah, that was my first group trip I've ever done.
Was it
Ever.
really?
Yes. And we're going to talk about this in another episode, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was just a really cool way to meet so many solo travelers.
Yeah. And I love the fact that it was a group of mainly content creators, photographers, creative people. So already it was like-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why we had so strong connections
Absolutely.
with everybody.
Yeah, because it really, when you meet other solo travelers, you automatically have so much in common with them.
Yeah.
And you feel less alone, because I think when we both go home to where we're from, I live in LA, you live in Quebec.
Yeah.
You're kind of the only one in your community that lives this lifestyle.
Yeah.
So then to establish friendships that you solo travel the world, I solo travel the world, it makes you feel so much less alone and like really normalize that lifestyle.
100%. And I think that's why it's so easy to meet people when you solo travel, because you already have one thing in common. You love traveling, and you love everybody solo traveling. It's such a big step. It's a big leap, a big risk you take in your life. And so you already have this connection in common, and that's why it makes it easier, I think, to meet people. But we'll have other episodes about this.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about so many things, but the goal of the podcast is literally to inspire other people to start solo traveling, because it both changed our life.
It totally changed our lives. And I think we both wanted to share our journey of how we became solo travelers, because we have such different journeys of that.
Oh, yes. So different.
And that's what makes it so fun to meet other solo travelers, because everybody has a story of how they became that and what inspired them.
Yeah.
So yeah, have we even said our names?
I don't think so.
Like,
Well, I'm Beatrice. Nice to meet you.
and I'm Emma. Nice to meet you.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, we really like the contrast of our friendship because you're 25.
Yeah.
I'm 33.
Yeah.
Gen Z, millennial. And then just the difference in how our journey started.
Yeah.
So a little bit about me is I started my solo traveling through singing. So I sang on cruise ships, 5-star hotels, resorts. I've lived in a couple different countries. At one point, I was an au pair in Switzerland.
That's so cool.
That was, yeah. For 3 months, I was an au pair for one of my friends. But I definitely started doing it singing. So I have my BFA in musical theater. I'm originally from Minnesota, but I moved to Los Angeles when I was 18 and I went to college. And I heard that you could get paid to travel the world and sing. And I remember I was at work. I was a nanny for this little boy. And I had this dream of traveling the world, but I didn't know how to do it. And one of my teachers posted on Facebook that they were looking for singers for a luxury cruise line. And I was like, that is literally my dream. And they listed 20 different countries that you're going to go to, 40 different cities in the Mediterranean. And I applied. I had one video of me performing and I sent it in. 2 weeks, I heard nothing. Then all of a sudden I wake up to a contract in my email. A contract offering me a 7-month gig, cruising around the Mediterranean, amazing salary. I was like 23 at the time. So for me, it was like, oh my God, I'm getting paid so much money. So this was the start of my like travel journey. And for 10 years then, I just was doing singing contracts. In between my contracts, I was going on solo trips to Australia by myself, Taiwan, all of these places. Like I literally could not stop traveling. I was basically never home, but still had a home, like paying for rent, but which that's a whole other topic we can talk about.
Literally. That's so cool. Wait, so you were on the boat for 7 months.
7 months straight.
Were you singing? How often did you had to sing?
So I was in a show, which none of us knew each other. So we all joined the cruise ship together. Yeah. We had 5 different shows. So we only performed 5 days a week.
Okay.
50 minutes a night. And the rest was
50 minutes.
50 minutes
a night.
And this is split between 6 singers. So we each had to sing like 2 songs.
What?
But we had an ABBA show. We had a Beatles show.
That's so cool.
We had a musical theater show. And yeah, I would say that really was how my journey started. And also my mom was a solo female traveler when she was in her 20s.
My parents too.
Really?
Yes, I didn't know your mom was.
Yeah, my mom was an English teacher in Japan for 2 years.
What?
And then she lived in Hawaii. She lived in Norway.
That's so cool.
Yeah, she really inspired me.
Especially your parents, because I think for us at this moment, it's easier to become a solo traveler. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's much easier than in their time. Because I was talking to my mom and she did like a 6 month in Europe. And she was telling me that, so you don't have like Expedia, like booking.com.
No.
You have to show up. And like there's literally like, she told me like she arrived in Spain. And there were like a bunch of men with the little photos of their like homestay and like guest house and hotel. And you have to choose at the airport.
What?
Yes, you don't have reviews. You don't have like, she just had to show up.
That is
and
literally
then she
insane.
chose somebody at the airport. And I'm like, this is next level.
So crazy.
Solo traveling. I don't even think I would be able to do that.
And my mom would say that literally to make sure people knew you were still alive, the only way you could let them know is to write a letter.
Yeah.
And then that would arrive weeks later.
That's crazy. Like, well, I don't know about you, but me, I share my location all the time, 24/7. And I know that my dad, every morning when he wakes up, he takes his coffee and he looks on the map where I am.
To make sure you're alive.
To make sure I'm alive. And like, that's part of his routine.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like he would totally freak out if he didn't have that.
Absolutely.
But they did it. And it's so inspiring.
It's so inspiring. And it really makes it like we do have it pretty luxurious now.
Yeah.
Like we get to read reviews, we get to see pictures of places, we get so much at our fingertips. We can plan a year-long trip around the world on our phone.
Literally. Yeah.
It's really different than it was when our parents were
Yeah.
young.
We still have other challenges, and
Yes. And
it's
that comes with its own set of
yeah,
challenges.
exactly. But I think for this part, it's much easier nowadays.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then after the cruise ship,
Yes.
because you did it for 10 years.
I did.
That's
I did.
a long time.
I and that journey, I was actually in Saudi Arabia performing at the Four Seasons when the pandemic hit.
Oh.
So that was a crazy experience. The whole country, Saudi Arabia, went on lockdown like a lot of countries did.
Yeah.
And we were not able to leave the hotel from 2 p.m. until 6 a.m. We only had like a 6-hour window to leave. And we couldn't get a flight home. And so it was me and then another singer from Australia. And obviously we're working with our different embassies.
Yeah.
I was calling the embassy every day for like 2 weeks to try and
my
get a flight
God.
home. Finally, they call me and they say, you have 2 hours to pay $1,900 US dollars. 1,900 US dollars to get home. And the flight is tomorrow morning.
And the company you were working for, did they pay for you?
No, they didn't, because there was a loophole in the contract.
Oh my God.
So we didn't get paid for a month.
No, you didn't get paid at all.
We got $500, but we were supposed to get like 5 times that much.
Oh my God. And you had to pay.
We had to pay to get our way home, and they didn't call me back. So I had to run down to reception. It was all in Arabic, and he had to do it online for me, the receptionist, and then literally 2 minutes before I got the flight. It was insane. But it was like, honestly, for me, that's a part of traveling.
It is.
And it makes you so adaptable and so independent and so strong.
Yeah. So strong.
So that's kind of my journey, is like starting on cruise ships, 5-star hotels, resorts, but then in between all of those, like going on these crazy trips by myself.
Yeah.
And like in the past couple of years, just really diving into traveling outside of performing, and yeah, just I can't stop.
No, it gets
I
addictive.
can't. It's so addicting.
Honestly. And I feel like, well, I think we both agree on that, but the first trip, solo trip, is so nerve-wracking.
Mm-hmm.
It's so stressful. And all of them are stressful, but the first one is like, oof, such a big step. But once you do it, after you realize how fun it is, and then you get addicted. And that's why you've been doing it for 10 years. And I don't know when I'm going to stop, because I love it so much.
Me too. And I wanted to say, like, I had such bad anxiety as a child. I literally could not have a sleepover. I would get sick to my stomach. I would be so nervous to be away from home. And the first like solo trip I did was to Costa Rica, and I had to leave early. I was supposed to be there for 7 weeks. I was too nervous, and I left like 1 week later.
Wow.
And it really was difficult for me. But then when I moved from Minnesota to LA for college, that's, I think, when I started to realize, like, okay, if I push through that uncomfortable feeling, I loved it.
Yeah.
And then, so I wanted to just like say it's so normal to be nervous for a trip.
It is.
And that's
so normal.
And like even now, I think we both probably are nervous before a big trip, because every place is a new destination that you're going.
And every destination has its own challenges. I remember that. So I was in Southeast Asia the whole fall, and then I came back for Christmas. And coming back home, I feel like it's so easy to come back in your safe environment. So you feel so comfortable. And then to go again, solo travel, especially I was going to Colombia after, and everybody at home, nobody went to Colombia, but everybody had their opinion about Colombia. And like, I know I was so stressed. I couldn't sleep the night before going to Colombia, even if I had so much experiences. So I think that's something we don't talk enough about, because we see on social media, like, these solo travel girl, and I think even on my page, like I show often that like the good side of solo travel. I talk about the bad side also, but I think it's so important for people to know that every single time I go again on the plane and I go to a new destination, everybody's stressed and everybody's nervous about it. Everybody. It's just that we do it even if we are stressed.
It's just that we've had enough experience now to know it was worth it.
Exactly.
And that we overcame that anxiety, we overcame that stress. I am literally, like I said, I'm 33 and I still get nervous for every trip.
Yeah.
And I still have to adjust from the comfort of being home to a totally new place with new people, new culture, new food. Like you just are always going to have that adjustment.
Yeah.
And that's super normal.
Yeah, it's super normal. But then you come back from this new trip and you're so happy and you're so glad you did it. Like I've never came back from a trip and said, "Oh, that wasn't worth it." Never.
Ever. Even the trips where like things go wrong, I always am better because of them.
Yeah. Same. You learn so much and you grow so much.
You do.
But we're going to talk about it. Okay. And then after COVID.
Yeah.
No. During COVID.
Well, so when I came home from Saudi Arabia, that whole industry shut down because they couldn't hire international singers anymore. So I was like, what am I going to do? And so I decided to buy an empty van, a Mercedes, and then I hired a team to build it into my dream camper van.
How much did it cost to do like all of this?
Oh my God. I definitely added this up and I don't remember, but it was expensive.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It was very expensive.
But it looks so good.
Yes, it was such a fun project. I actually found the company to build my van from one of my friends who went on a date with a guy.
No.
I was like interviewing so many like companies and none of them were a match. I was just like, oh my God, this is so annoying. And then my friend was like, Emma, I just went on a date with a guy who says he works for a company. And I was like, okay, I'll go meet them. They were incredible.
No way.
Literally the best company ever. It took 8 months to build the van. So I designed it, they built it.
Okay.
And the original plan was for me to live in it and travel the US, but I found out very quickly I did not like that lifestyle. Like I'm way too much of a clean freak. Like I couldn't handle going to the beach and then bringing sand into the van. And I was just like, I can't do this. It's really cute and I like the idea of it. And then my builder said, Emma, you can make a lot of money selling this. So it turned out to be an incredible investment for me because I did make so much money from that. And yeah, I sold it to a really cool girl in Tennessee.
Nice.
Yeah. And so that was my little mini experience with van life.
Yeah.
I did sleep in it for 7 days. So
Just 7?
Just 7 days.
Just 7?
Just 7 days. Yeah, because I didn't want to like add mileage and make it dirty. I wanted it to be like pristine and clean. But yeah, that's my little van life journey.
And then when COVID started again,
and then I could start performing again. Yeah.
Okay, and then you continue traveling.
Yeah, I did do a couple contracts during COVID, and it was so intense with like testing and masks, and it was crazy. And somehow I've never gotten COVID.
That's amazing.
I don't know.
Crazy.
Because I was like risky traveling during it.
I guess you have a good immune system. I don't know.
I don't know. I got lucky in that way.
I
know.
Well, that's good. And then now you're traveling.
And now it's back to normal. And now we're in Bali.
Yay!
And it's so cool.
It's so nice. But it's like, I feel like home.
I know.
We're staying in the villa with a bunch of people. We're 22 in the villa. And we just share the same environment. It's just so fun because I feel like home. Like we all have a room, our bed. We work.
Yeah.
We go to the gym. We cook.
Yeah, it is like living here as opposed to traveling.
Yeah. 100%. I haven't done any activities.
No. We really entertain ourselves here.
Oh, yes. Emma and I are the entertainers of the house.
Well, we were joking. It's like kind of Love Island.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of couples come out of this house. I'm just going to say.
Oh yeah, because it's 22 people, young, beautiful people in one house, living 24/7 together. We could literally do a reality TV show in here.
It is so reality TV show
Oh
vibes.
yeah, so there's little love stories, and then that's it. Well, it's enough drama for that.
Yeah.
No drama. Everybody's so nice.
Everybody's so nice.
No gossiping.
No.
No drama. Just happiness. It's really fun.
It is really fun. It's a great
Yeah.
place to be inspired.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. We're going to do 3 things that we love about solo traveling.
Okay, you want to start?
Yes. So I wrote down it gives me a lot of confidence. Being
Well-
independent.
Yeah.
And I literally feel like I can do anything on my own. Because I've seen a lot of people talk about, oh, like I'm too nervous to go to a restaurant alone, or I'm too nervous to do this alone. I literally can do anything alone now
100%.
and not feel embarrassed or shy or scared.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. I wrote it I wrote down also like knowing myself, so I think it all comes down to like you know so much about you learn so much about what you can do, who you are, cuz especially like when I was in in my hometown, I feel like everybody has already an idea of who I am, but when you're solo traveling, you know, you can like
Be anyone you want to be.
exactly
And be your true self.
Exactly. So I wrote it down too. Also, I love the fact that I don't have to compromise. If I don't want to do it or if I want to do something, I'm just going to go. I'm not waiting for anybody.
That's my second one. I said I don't have to coordinate plans like what somebody else wants to do
Yeah.
because I've been on trips with my friends where we just have such different interests.
Yeah.
And I really felt like you feel the difference when you're alone. You do
Oh.
anything you want.
Yeah.
And then when you're with other people, you do kind of have to compromise like what the group wants to do.
Yeah, exactly. So then you have, yeah, I think that's such a good part of solo traveling. And last thing, it's so easy to make friends. And you
My third one.
So we literally have the same. I just want to say that we didn't talk when we said that.
Also, they're in the exact same order. Because mine are the exact same order of yours.
I love that.
That's weird. Well, and I wanted to say you make so many friends because you don't have a comfort person.
Exactly. And you're so much more approachable. Like if you're just by yourself, so other solo traveler will see you and will approach you instead of if you're a big group of friends. Even as a solo female traveler, I would never go like, well, I could, but it would take me a lot of courage to go in a group of friends.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, you just meet amazing people.
It just like forces you to be more extroverted in that way, kind of.
yeah, 100%. Woo.
Yeah. That's so. I'm not surprised we have the.
I'm not surprised either. That's why I wanted us to like do it separately.
Yeah.
Because I feel the fact that we've done it separately and we have the exact same answers
Yeah.
says a lot about how cool soul traveling
And
is.
it says a lot about how we have such shared experiences.
Yeah. And like we're different, so our stories are different, but we still end up with the same top 3 things we love.
Yes. That's so cool.
That's really cool.
Well, I want to hear about your beginning to your solo travel journey.
My beginning is so different, but we have something in common there is that you talked about your anxiety and like how you were stressed to like be by yourself and travel alone. It was the same for me, and it was even more like in my hometown. I'm from Quebec City. It's so safe. So safe. And I was scared all the time. And I remember like I had like if I had a party 5-minute walk from my home, I would prefer calling a taxi and paying like $20 to get back to my home than like walking
Wow.
5 minutes because I was so scared of walking alone when it was dark. And even during the day, I was like always on the like fake talking on the phone, you know, so stressed about everything. And I always told myself I would never be a solo female traveler, never. It was just not my thing. That's what I was telling myself. But then what happened is that so what gave me like the love of traveling was really when I came here in Bali in 2018 with my friend, and it was like our first trip without our parents. We were 18 at this time. And it was just amazing. Amazing. 1 month in Bali. Bali, everybody loves Bali.
Yeah,
It
everybody
just,
does love Bali.
yeah, it just gets, it's such a nice vibe. It was an amazing trip. And then I came back and I was like, oh my God, I need to do this again. Like, I'm saving up for my next trip. So, my whole like college, university, I was just saving money and then traveling again, saving money, traveling again. But I was always finding people to travel with me. I wasn't ready to go by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I did so many trips. And then COVID hits. So during COVID, I couldn't travel at all. And I studied to become a teacher. So I did like my whole studies, and I started becoming a teacher, like teaching in a class and being alone with kids in a class, like in 2022. And it wasn't for me. Like, I was literally crying every single day. Like,
Wow.
before going to work, I was crying. And after going to work, I was either crying or I was going to, there was like a little forest next to the school. And I was going alone in the forest for like between 30 minutes and 1 hour, just walking by myself, no music, nothing, just silence. I needed, like, I was overstimulated by all the sounds and like the kids. And I love kids, but just teaching wasn't made for me. So I had two choices. I had the choice of like continuing this contract, and how it works when you start becoming a teacher is that, so I had a contract, and the teacher was like, had a burnout. So every month she was seeing her doctor, and the doctor was telling her like, "Oh, you're ready to come back, or no, take 1 more month." So every month, starting in January, every month I had to wait like, "Oh, am I staying 1 more month? Am I staying 1 more month?" For like until the end of the school year. And after 3 months, I was like, "This is not for me. Like, I cannot continue like that." But I was like, my hands are tied with this contract. But because every month I had like someone telling me if I was doing the next month and the next month, what I did is that I booked a trip in May. And I was like, I'm just going to tell them that this trip has been booked for years, for months before I signed this contract. And I just didn't thought that the contract was going to go until May. So I booked this trip to Egypt and Jordan. None of my friends, not my boyfriend, nobody could come with me, but I decided to book a group trip. So it's like kind of the difference is like I started solo traveling with group trips. I wasn't ready to go by myself, but I needed a way to escape this contract and to go away. So I booked this trip, Egypt, Jordan, and in like April, I told the principal, and I was like, by the way, I really didn't think I was going to teach until May, but I have this trip. I'm so sorry. I have this trip, Egypt, Jordan. I need to go. And she was like, well, okay, I guess we don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
So that was my way of escaping the teaching part. And then I booked this trip. It was with G Adventures. I think you did.
I did. I did Peru with them.
They're so good. And it's so yeah, I wasn't ready to be solo traveler, but this group trip, I was with a group of people I didn't know. I was really taking the plane by myself, but there was somebody waiting for me at the airport. And then for the 2 weeks, I was with the same group of people. So that was kind of like helping me of taking this first step into solo travel, because I wasn't really solo, and I knew I was going to make friends in this group of people, or like I was hoping then. And so yeah, I just took the plane, and I was so nervous. Oh my God, I was so nervous, especially that I was landing in Egypt. Who starts solo traveling in Egypt? I
Yeah.
don't really know, but I did.
That was you.
And I arrived there, and I couldn't trust anybody. I remember like a cute guy in the plane.
Of course. This is so Beatrice, by the way.
And this is
Cute guy?
Cute guy. You'll hear about cute guy in this
Yes,
podcast.
you will.
But I remember this cute guy came to me in the plane and started talking to me, asking for my Instagram. This never happens, by the way. Never happens. It's the only time in my life that it happened. But I was nervous. I was so nervous, and like I was just in my head of thinking like I cannot trust anybody. Like everybody just want to kidnap me. So I just didn't give my Instagram to this cute guy. I hope he's gonna listen to this podcast one day. Remember me.
Yes. Full circle.
But anyways, I was so nervous. I was like, this guy is probably trying to kidnap me. I'm not gonna give my Instagram. And then I landed. I had somebody who was waiting for me at the airport, and I was so suspicious. I was like, is it really the good one? You know, he has like my name, my full name with the logo of G Adventure, but I was still,
Still skeptical.
is he gonna kidnap me? And then I went into the car, and then I arrived at the hotel, and everything was fine. And it was the most amazing trip ever. I met amazing people, and all of them were solo travelers. And then that's when I realized, like, oh wait, like so many people are solo traveling and they love it. And these people are not different than me. They haven't done something special. They're like me, and they're solo traveling, and it's going pretty great, and they love it. So that's when it opened me up to solo travel, and I was like, oh well. At the end of this 2 week, when I came back from Jordan, I was like, the way back was so easy. Well, it wasn't easy. I had so many problems with the airline company, but you know, I wasn't thinking everybody was trying to kidnap me. So I had like progress. And then after this trip, I just started getting more confident and more confident. So I booked 2 other group trips, and then yeah, I booked another group trip in Borneo here to go see the orangutans.
Yeah, the orangutan.
Thank you for saying it with the right accent.
I translate for her sometimes.
Yes. I was like, I know I'm not saying it right.
I speak Beatrice.
So I went to Borneo to see these monkeys.
Yes.
And it was amazing. Again, it was with G Adventures. And then I had a retreat, a content creator retreat in Bali after Borneo. So I had this group trip in Borneo, and then I had Bali with another bunch of people for 10 days. But in between, I had 5 days that I was completely alone for the first time. And it was in Bali. So I felt more confident because it wasn't my first time in Bali, and I knew Bali is so safe. But still, I remember I had this collab with a villa in Bali. And so I had a whole big villa for myself for 3 nights. And I was crazy. I was so scared. I locked every door. I put chairs in front of the doors.
I have done that so many times.
Yeah.
So many times.
You know, I feel, and we've talked about this in the past, like, it's so much scarier to be in an Airbnb by yourself than in a dorm full of random people in a hostel. So much scarier.
I totally agree. And I think even just an Airbnb compared to a hotel, like if you're not a hostel person, a hotel, knowing the receptionist is there, like you feel so much safer than in an Airbnb.
Yeah. 100%. Because the Airbnb, you're like by yourself. You don't know who owns the Airbnb.
Right.
It's like, if you have a question, there's nobody to help you because the person is not living there. So it's different.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's a content creation collab. So I'm like, they're probably not going to kidnap me. But anyways, I was so stressed. But I made it. And it was so stressful. But every night I was getting better and better and better. And then I was like, wow, like I was so proud of myself because I remember like I was scared of walking alone in Quebec City, and now I was sleeping alone in a big villa in Bali. So I feel like the small steps, you know, I wasn't like, I didn't wake up one morning saying, oh, tomorrow I'm starting solo traveling and I'm gonna go in this big trip, travel full time by myself. No, it was small little steps that bring me to now I'm traveling full time by myself, but I could have never done that without the past.
That's really inspiring. And I think what's also inspiring is you were a teacher. You had a completely different career path.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like your intuition was just kind of like screaming at you, like, this is not right for me.
100%.
And it's risky to change. Like you studied that in university, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like your life was leading up to this career,
Yeah.
and you trusted your gut and
Yeah.
you took a risk, and now you've been solo traveling. And I think it's so smart to start your journey, if you are nervous, with a group trip.
Oh, 100%.
Because at the end of the day, you're still meeting completely new people. You're
Yeah.
still getting there by yourself. You're still
Yeah.
figuring everything out alone. But it is a bit easier because
is.
you get to be in this group. You get to know the people.
And you're so safe because there's somebody taking care of you the whole time.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about this, like when you are a little bit nervous to go to a certain country, because there are countries where you are more nervous and vulnerable.
Yeah, and there's a reason why.
And a group trip is an amazing way to kind of like combat that.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to like places like Bali, I think is a very easy place to solo travel.
Oh yeah, I always recommend Bali to
Me
start
too.
solo travel
Yeah.
because it's so safe here. The Balinese people are so nice, so sweet. But yeah, I think group trip, even if like Bali is too much of a big deal, it's too much of a big step. Group trips, they have group trips in Bali. They have group trips everywhere. So many companies offer group trips, and yeah, it just makes a huge difference, I think, to build your confidence and just have a glimpse of what solo travel is.
Yeah. And like if you were anxious like we both were, you just take like one step at a time.
Exactly.
And you definitely did that. You were nervous to walk around Quebec by yourself. And so you started in a way that was comfortable for you to then build confidence.
Exactly. And I love the part of like the intuition, because we will talk about this so much time, but I think your gut feeling knows everything. And like it's gonna tell you if you feel safe somewhere or if you feel unsafe somewhere, just listen to it. And like, yes, you have to push your limits a little bit. You have to step out of your comfort zone, but don't push them too much. Like if you feel unsafe, just like stay at your hostel for this night. It like
Absolutely.
take the grab to bring you somewhere else. Like pay the little extra money to make you feel safer. I think just listen to your gut feeling and like go at your own rhythm. And
100%.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
okay, now Emma, we did things we love about solo travel. Now things we hate about solo traveling.
Yes.
You start?
Okay. So this is funny because it's actually the opposite of one of my things I love. So they kind of conflict.
I wonder if it's mine.
Sometimes I get tired of always meeting new people and saying goodbye when you like go to the next place.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Which is funny because one of the things I loved was meeting new people.
Yeah.
But I think it's sometimes you feel both ways.
I agree. And I think, well, mine was like small talks. I
Hate small talk.
hate small talks. And that's why I'm slow traveling. And that's why I love being here. Because, of course, when you meet new people, you're going to start with small talks, especially at hostels. But, oh my God, it gets so tiring. So that's why I love like slow traveling and like kind of meeting people and then you like travel with them for a while. I did that so much like in Southeast Asia and even here. Cause small talks, oh my God.
Small talk is not for me.
It's not for me either.
That's why when you connect and you find people that you really get along with easily,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, stick with those.
Stick with those. And like, don't be afraid to ask like people like, hey, what is your plan after like, we're in Canggu here in Bali. What's your plan after Canggu? Are you going to Ubud? Oh, you want to join?
Which we did that last year together.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't be afraid to ask other solo traveler, hey, do you want to join? Like, if you like someone, just ask them. And like, the worst that can happen is they say no.
Yeah.
And if they say yes, I made so many amazing friends just by saying, hey, you want to join? Or even like at the restaurant, hey, I'm having dinner. You want to join?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that like allows you to build deeper connection and then avoid
I could not
small
agree more.
talks.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay. My second one is pretty dumb, but it's a big struggle.
Oh my God.
Sometimes carrying your luggage,
Oh,
like I'm
that's such a good one.
I'm pretty strong for my size, but it is so exhausting.
It
Like
is.
I've never traveled a lot with a partner, like a boyfriend, where they just effortlessly can carry your bags up the stairs or this, but hand in hand with carrying your luggage is like if you're in an airport, you can't just leave your luggage to go to the bathroom. You have to bring it
So annoying.
everywhere.
Yes.
And
yes.
that is like such a small detail. But when you do travel with other people, you feel like, oh my God, I can leave my luggage and go to the bathroom. It feels so,
so good.
so good. What is your second one?
Oh my God. Wait, I just want to say that I really love this one because I agree 100%. 100%. Like, especially the backpack. I have like one big backpack in my bag, in my back, and then I have another backpack in front of me. And now, because I knew I was coming to Bali for a long time, I had a third tote bag.
Oh my God.
So I had 3 bags to carry everywhere in the airport. It was awful, but I made it.
I
Anyways.
know the struggle.
Next one for me, it was like to have. It's difficult to. I get tired of taking every single decision all the time. Like here, I don't really feel it because we're really slow traveling. We live at the villa all the time, but when you're always on the move, you have to choose how long you're gonna stay there, where you're gonna eat, where you're gonna stay, like what's your next step. You have to make every single decision, and it gets so tiring because there's so many choices.
Yep. And I think also like wanting to make your trip amazing, doing the research of like, what am I going to be interested in doing here? That's mentally exhausting sometimes.
It is.
And you don't like, sometimes you just don't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
And that's when meeting other solo travelers can be nice because they're like, hey, we're doing this today. Do you want to join?
Exactly.
And you don't have to think about it. You're like, yes, because I'm tired.
Exactly. In Vietnam, I had like this group. We were 7 people, and we met at the beginning of my journey in Vietnam, and we stayed together for 3 weeks. Being 7 solo travelers, I think everybody would like, we talked about this. It was so nice because it was like, oh, today, like, Sven, can you like book for everybody? Yoop, you just found a restaurant. Let's go there. Oh, Anna, can you do this? So you split everything in 7 people. And it was so good to have like a mental break of choosing all the time.
I totally agree. Okay, my next one. This is so me.
What are you gonna say?
Okay. Having a bug in your room or a lizard, which is very much the case in Bali. I actually moved rooms today because I had an open air bathroom in the room downstairs, and I had a lizard. We named her Penelope to make it more of a friendly relationship. But she would chirp and wake me up at like 6 a.m. And I don't like lizards. I don't mind them outside, but them like wiggling and squirming around in my room. And like, just, you know, we're lucky that we have people here that can help us in these situations. But there have been so many times where like I'm ready to go to bed and all of a sudden I see a cockroach. Or all of a sudden I see a spider. And I am terrified. This is my biggest fear. Some people are afraid of heights. Some people are afraid of, I don't know, whatever else. I am bugs.
Yeah.
And I am creepy, crawly little things.
Yeah.
And when you're alone, you know, honestly, the plus side of being in a hostel in a dorm is there are other people to help you with that stuff. So for me, that's one of my downsides is the bugs.
Oh, I can relate so much to that. I remember when I was in Guatemala, I had a scorpion in my room and nobody to help me. It was the most scariest thing ever. I was screaming in my room for 30 minutes before doing anything.
How did you get it out?
I used a trap. So for 30 minutes, I didn't do nothing. I was just screaming all by myself in my room.
That would be me.
And then I was like, I need to do something because I will not sleep. So I looked up on Google, and Google told me a little girl from Guatemala, like a solo travel girl, told me that she got stung by a scorpion and got paralyzed for 24 hours in Guatemala. So I was like, okay, I cannot sleep with this in my room. So then I took a trash, and like it was like a trash, and under the trash there was like an empty hole, kind of. So I took the trash and like trapped the scorpion on the wall. But then, like, I was just stuck holding to the trash on the wall. And I was like, I cannot stay like all night long
Like,
standing
what do
up.
I do next?
Yeah. And then I was like, fuck, like, he's probably so mad at me now. So he's just like, if I move the trash, he's gonna stick me. So then I like slowly moved the trash down almost to the floor, and then like quickly switched the trash with the scorpion down to the floor, and he slept under the trash for the whole night.
Oh, you had him in the room still, just
I
trapped.
couldn't kill him because they said on Google that you cannot kill a scorpion. I don't remember the reason why, but there's a reason. So I was just like, well, he couldn't go out of the trash. He was stuck there.
Mm.
So I was like, well, at least he's there. And it was easier this than like going out because the reception was like
This is also the reality of podcasting.
yeah.
The technicalities.
Okay. So yeah, it was just like nerve wracking, and I just wanted to kill the scorpion, but he just slept next to my bed.
Wow, you're brave.
I don't know if I was brave, whatever. My last one, I hate being sick.
I almost wrote this down as well.
I hate it because it's so reassuring when you're sick to have like someone like either your boyfriend, like your friends, like someone like who cares about you to take care of you. I just hate it.
I feel the exact same way. And my immediate thought when I'm sick is, I want to go home.
Yeah.
I don't want to be here. I don't want to be sick in a creepy bathroom
Yeah.
where I'm hot and I don't have to go walk to the store by myself to get medicine.
Exactly.
I want to go home.
Especially when you're sleeping in a dorm
Oh,
and you're sick. Oh my God.
yeah.
Like, this is just the worst.
Yes, that is such. And a hangover.
Oh yeah. I
Hangover?
had so many of them.
Hangover in another country is a whole new.
I feel like they're easier though. for
Really?
me. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I feel so happy. I'm like traveling and it's like sunny outside. I feel like for me, laying down next to the pool or next to the beach for my hangover, so much easier.
Interesting. Do it for the plot.
Do it for the plot.
Yep.
That's my almost tattooed phrase.
Yeah, that is Beatrice's phrase.
Yeah. Anyways,
So
thank you. We're almost done.
we are, and it's
So
something we
fun.
wanted to do every week is
Yeah.
highlight a solo female traveler of the week that inspires us.
Yes.
So this week is Lexi Limitless.
Yes.
And she's somebody that I've been following for a couple of years now. I discovered her during the pandemic. And she is, as you probably know, she's really, really popular.
She's really famous.
But she is the youngest person in the world to visit every single country. At 21 years old, she visited every country in the world.
Isn't that crazy?
She's really cool. And the process for that is really intense. I was watching one of her videos about it. And if I'm not mistaken, she had to go to one last country a second time because they didn't approve of her proof that she
Yeah.
visited that country.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So she had to do that country over again. And it was just such a cool thing to see her at a very, very young age. I mean,
Yeah.
21?
21, every single country. Is there like 190
There's
countries?
like 196. It depends on the book that you read. They're all different. But
it's crazy, but it's so nice. And she did it by herself mostly.
yeah, she did a lot of them by herself.
So that's really impressive.
It's so impressive.
And she's a girl.
And she's a girly and she's a solo female and she's just
Yeah.
really inspiring.
Yeah, she is. And also, I wanted to like finish the episode by saying to our listeners that we really want to build this community. So right now we're highlighting like solo female travelers known on Instagram that we both follow.
Mm-hmm.
But we would love to highlight like stories from the communities. We want to build like this safe environment to inspire other people in our community to
Yes.
solo travel. And so if you have a good story about your journey as a solo female traveler, you can share it to us on our social media, and we would be happy to read you and share your stories in the podcast.
We would love to do that. And we just wanted to say, like, we say solo female traveler, but we are a very inclusive podcast and community, and any identifying female, non-binary, we are very accepting of it. It doesn't have to be exclusively
100%
that. And like really feeling like if this podcast resonates with you and you get a lot from it, then it's for you, and that's our community.
Yeah, exactly. But just, we would be happy to hear your story, highlight you in our podcast.
Yes. So we're so excited. Thank you for listening to the first episode of our podcast.
Yes.
This is so exciting.
So many.
I'm so happy.
Oh my God.
So we will
see you next
time. Thank you.